Hello and welcome. This is Ayana Lahi, and I am so very happy that you are here with all of us today in this week's episode of Be One, Be You. We are diving into the theme, the choice of living through ego or God. Being on your uplifting, enlightening path of awakening into you brings you to a point in your life that you begin to unravel and weave your love, your light, your true essence of who you are into your life through awakening to, well, what is my ego? What is this? I like to communicate with others that your ego attempts to help you out when it is first created, and the ego self can be tracked into the DNA of survival. And through the history, herstory of how we unfold in our psyche, in our consciousness, over thousands, tens of thousands of years, we come to realize that the ego is what becomes outdated in ourself. It has certain characteristics that could be connected to creating habits that are difficult to end, patterns that are so deep inside that they become beliefs, those kind of patterns that all stem back to separation from real love. The pain of losing and forgetting our original connection with infinite source is almighty painful. And I share this from my own experience of waking up again in this lifetime and tracking my thread, that woven golden thread of awakening and the awakened state of being the me that I am, the non-me, the everything me, the all me, and the nothing me, tracking all of this being called me through my own experience of being here in this physical world and in many dimensions. And so here we are, here you are, and we bring with us patterns that are easiest to begin to identify through our family of origin. The ego structure of the family is very set, and part of the birth reincarnation experience is that you have to expect those patterns to be put on you. You're born with them. And we have the ability to awaken to those ego, meaning the separation part of ourself, and the ego part of that DNA of a family ancestry given to us, passed to us. It can be an extra burden to have to work out a family ego structure. Some examples of a family ego structure is, I struggled, so you have to struggle. Life is extremely difficult, and so your life will be extremely difficult. Our religion is better than that other person's religion. We have the right to, and fill in the blank. We don't care what others really think. We have the fill in the blank to do what we need to do. Now, sometimes what is being passed is for the good of the all and actually a karmic circle of completion and starting a new cycle. We live in a world that is extremely quick to judge, extremely quick, without having the faculties to see the bigger picture. So here you are, you're born, and your family structure ego has unspoken and spoken expectations, demands, and projections upon you. And you reach a point that could happen at any moment, any age, from a year old, less than a year old, up to 7 years old. And you feel, you sense, you hear those projections. And there will be some point in scientific unfoldment and research to discover that within the human brain, mind, body is a place within inside of a human being that is living in perfect, all-knowing oneness consciousness. Because who you are deep inside of you is a spark of the infinite source. And it's an essence, a beautiful light that is God light. And whether you're turned on or off by the word God, please don't turn off to the concept, the idea, and the reality that there is the source of all life within you. And this ties into the ego battle on the planet. The ego grows from that moment as that child that you believe that you can't accomplish what's being projected, expected onto you. The fear of not fulfilling, because human nature has a lot to do with fulfilling its own needs, its own thoughts about what it needs should be. When you take out the word should and you allow, and there is a bending that happens. It's not a hard, cold wall, but a receptive place. Receptivity, the feminine quality to open. It allows for individuality to emerge. And it helps to balance the struggle of, well, how much can I really give to myself or indulge in myself? How do I live centered in myself and live in the world instead of being self-centered, but to be centered in self? So here is part of yourself that comes up from deep within your psyche. When there's that feeling, that sensation of, oh, I don't think I can fulfill that projection, that expectation, that demand. And that's the beginning of the ego. But the ego comes in with you in every lifetime, and it attaches itself into your causal memory body. And that's why you begin to remember yourself. That's like the first step of going, I kind of know this. How do I know this is real? Huh? Well, what happens is that in some previous lifetime, and if you're listening to this, you've had thousands and thousands of lifetimes. So here you are, and here I am, and here we are together, and we are unraveling the trap points, the stuck points of being on your awakening path to you. And it is a path that brings incredible experiences of joy and also sadness. And it's the full spectrum of being human we get to unravel. So here's this part in you. It rises up to the occasion and it turns into the part of you that you probably are having a challenging time dealing with in your life. We each have our own ego based upon past lifetimes, our family and ancestral history, personalities, work ethics, relationships with money, sexuality, love, narcissism, power, and our relationship to the source itself. The role that you play in your life is either grokked into, wired into your ego self identity or your God self, the essence from within you. And also a combination of the two. So yeah, there's the negative ego, which really can drive you down with, hey, listen, it says you're not smart enough. Yeah, you're really not that smart. Or, you got to lose weight. Who you are is not okay. You need to have that drink in order to just settle down, settle down. Who do you think you are to think that you should have a voice, that others want to hear you? You're always stirring up trouble. You're not worthy. So these are some of the little messages of the negative ego. The positive ego, the part of you that wants to support the true you. The true you was the little kid who's thinking or has that moment, I don't know how to fit into this situation. I don't know how to make anybody feel okay. Like, who am I? Really? Like, these people around me are upset. They're having upsets and problems, and I must be the cause of that. And so that's another bridge into creating an imbalanced ego self. So yeah, the positive ego is saying, I'm going to help support you to write that resume, to run that workshop, write that book. We're going to bring in the greatest truth. I'm going to support you to raise your kids in a different way than how your parents raised you and how their parents raised them. We're going to do it with greater understanding and listening, greater love. And we're going to show up in a way that comes from our heart point in our chest, a place where we know that both of our sacred, divine, feminine self and masculine self are dancing, being, having a board meeting together. They are one. And this is a huge, important, really, truly significant milestone that we reach on our awakening journey. And that is guided in the Evolutionary Empowerment Global Membership site. The experience of joining into our community and having full access to the courses that guide you on your awakening journey. And if you want to be part of the mentoring group or groups, you can choose what you want and how you want to jump in. Your freedom is what's really, really most important here. And that's what drives me, is the freedom from all the constrictions, contractions, and the maze of life and coming through it. And how do we do that? So when you choose being connected to the spark of God within you, that spark of God is that all-loving place. It's truly a guidance counselor. And yeah, it's an incredible, I'll say almighty presence that grows as we make room inside of ourselves to connect in and receive its guidance. And that center of God is within you, and the fastest way to find the door is through your heart. And then to begin the ignition process, igniting the truth centers, those portals in your body, known as chakras. In the Spirit Gateways Institute offerings, I teach them as PowerPoint centers because of how they connect in a network of a whole self matrix within inside of you, and that there are many points that are there inside of you that keep you whole and give you the experience of being one. When you choose the fear part of you, the ego self, you experience having your life being taken over by a force that is not of your truth self, true self. Your ego self will proclaim itself to be A, B, C, D, E, F, all the way to Z. It will make itself believe that its perspective, its beliefs are real. And how painful to look out at life and to see that happening in politics, in education, in the systems. This is part of the expression and manifestation of the split off from the essence truth self, the true truth self. And this work that I offer is returning to that truth, true self center, and how life is different, and how we bring into our family, our closest relationships, a deeper intimacy. We see, experience business. I call it a be-isness. It's where you're in the isness of your being and the being of the interconnection with life and the system of life here, the system that we call normal, can force you, push you, support you to cut off from the system within yourself. Ego structure can be so full of its own self that the you that you really are becomes the little self. And you have the choice to reverse that. The ego self wants its own gratifications and wants. And this is not about not wanting. This is not about not enjoying. That's not what this is about. There's such material pleasures that are here in our world. It's an amazing time we live in. And it can also be all-consuming. And so, yes, the balance is super important that changes throughout your life. and to allow that balance point to shift. But to know that the love that is deep inside of you is the most important gift that you can give yourself and to someone else. And that love that is really you, of course, must be finely connected, like a beautiful gold filigree grid of beautiful design. The love that you are is a design. It is an imprint that is you and no one else. And here in Be One, Be You, all of the nuances and tools and the pathway itself into oneness within you is shared and given. And in all of the Spirit Gateways Institute mentoring groups and one-on-one work, and in the membership program, it's all revealed. My work is to share this with you. And so I end this for today, this week, and I'm so grateful that you are showing up for yourself in this way of being here with you as we share this time together. I invite you in this coming week to truly honor your true self, that voice within you that is wanting to be heard and received in your day, and to make room for you. I hold you in deep love until next time. This is Ayana Lahi.